that good. Oh, not good. Oh, there we are. Let's wait for the other one to die. It doesn't seem that dead yet. There we go. Alright, I'll just give it a couple of seconds. Well, not seconds. Give it a minute before people join up. And then you guys can watch it with me. I did say it was a surprise, right? We were talking about money in the side chat before, so I thought it'd be a bit of fun to stream this one. I've only just spotted it. I was like, did I watch that? I'm pretty sure I have, but I think it's from last year. But there's only about 30 days left on it, which I just spotted. So, yep. That's everyone's waiting to come back over here right now. Freedom. So we're just gonna wait until people come in. If you're watching this from the very beginning as a video, I'll put a timestamp on for when I actually shut up, and then you can just watch the show. But for now, we're just waiting for people to rejoin from the last stream that I just did, which is a nice hit job on Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, to be fair, I don't like hit job pieces like that on any political party thing. Or whatever, you know, it's the media in which we live today, I guess. Well, not today. They normally used to do it on criminals and shit, but now they just do it on fucking anything they want. I mean, shit, they should have done a hit piece on fucking BBC, wasting fucking taxpayers' money, taking Cliff Richard to fucking court. Didn't do a panorama on that though, did they? Stupid swats. Welcome back, Bill. Welcome back. Right then. I guess most of you kind of came back. Ready? Let's get this party started.
Ten years ago, on the 7th of October 2008, Britain almost went bust.
We were on the very brink of Armageddon.
The stakes were incredibly high.
The giant Royal Bank of Scotland, known as RBS, ran out of cash.
They couldn't get to the end of the day. The bank was finished.
And the government had just 24 hours to save the British economy.
We only had one shot here. If it didn't work, there was nothing else we could have done.
This is the story of how a small Scottish bank became the biggest in the world.
RBS had assets of in excess of £2.2 trillion.
And the relentless ambition of its boss, Fred Goodwin, who drove it to the top.
Morning meetings. Fred turned them into morning beatings.
Fred was known as Fred the Shred. He was quite ruthless in the way that he got rid of his people.
As Fred said himself, my name doesn't rhyme with charming and considerate.
For 8 years, it was a non-stop ride of multi-billion-pound acquisitions, fast cars and private jets.
The money was flowing in and they were spending it as fast as they could earn it.
Then the bank went from boom to bust and threatened to take Britain down with it.
With that scale of catastrophe at your doorstep, of course it's scary.
The worst could have been no cash in ATMs and hospitals not being able to function. It was really the stuff of nightmares.
Could have been one of those moments where you just sort of turn the lights out, get under the duvet, buy a shotgun and some baked beans.
Good morning, it's Tuesday the 7th of October.
There's more bad news on the economy.
It's looking very, very bleak at the moment. It seems that the emotions running through the city of fright, fear and panic.
At 8 a.m. on Tuesday, the 7th of October 2008, the chief executive of the Royal Bank of Scotland left his suite at the Ritz Hotel and got into a dark blue chauffeur-driven Mercedes. Sir Fred Goodwin had selected the shade himself to exactly match RBS's corporate colours. He was on his way to speak at a meeting of international banking investors. A month earlier, the giant US investment bank Lehman Brothers had dramatically collapsed, and there were now real concerns about the stability of the global banking system.
It's a big event, upwards of 1,000 investors there. My role on that day was to be on stage with the speakers. I would introduce them, they would give the presentation, and then there was a Q&A session.
It was an audience of bank investors. So particularly at a time when confidence was very fragile, being able to stand up and give an assured presentation was really quite important.
Fred arrived and we brought him on stage. I don't remember there being any obvious signs of strain. He had a prepared set of slides which talked about the growth aspirations and the opportunities presented to them. As he was speaking, I had no idea what was going on with the share price, and I think the large majority of the audience had no idea what was going on.
It is rare to see markets so volatile. Royal Bank of Scotland is now down 20%, and it's fallen sharply in the past few seconds. It just fell as we were talking.
At the end of the presentation, there was someone with their hand thrust up very enthusiastically, and he was looking at his BlackBerry as he spoke, and he said, Sir Fred, if the opportunities available to you are so exciting and if everything's going so well at the bank, why has the share price fallen 35% since you started speaking?
He went white, and Fred was not someone who was often lost for words.
He mumbled something. It was clear from the look on his face that he was stressed, and he knew at that point, we all knew at that point, that the bank was in major, major crisis mode. He left the stage straight away. He just stopped, looked at me and said, Manus, I've got to go, and walked out the door, and I never saw him again.
The extraordinary story of Fred Goodwin and the fall of RBS had begun 22 years before in Edinburgh at the historic headquarters of the Royal Bank of Scotland.
Royal Bank was just an icon. Its executives played a huge and important role in the community. They were all pillars of the society.
It was that respectable area of banking that stood the Royal Bank in good stead for, well, almost 300 years. Back in the 1980s, the people that ran the bank all had banking qualifications. What came afterwards was very, very different.
Following Margaret Thatcher's deregulation of the financial industry, which culminated in 1986 with the Big Bang, Scottish banks increasingly became a target for their larger English counterparts. Having survived one takeover bid, the Royal Bank of Scotland decided to shake up its management team. George Mathewson, an engineer by training with no formal banking qualifications, was brought in as Director of Strategic Planning and Development.
It was quite obvious that if we continued the way we were going, that the bank would have to be taken over. Yeah, this is the boardroom. This is my erstwhile